folks. There's been a few bizarre stories coming out the last few days in the news, so I thought I'd bring them to you. So here we go. Archaeology. Scientists say an intricately carved 51,000-year-old deer bone is the earliest example of Neanderthals' artistic abilities. Wow. So artists I see here. Cavemen. The bone was unearthed at the mouth of the Unicorn Cave in Germany. What a name. I want to go to Unicorn Cave. Ooh, blimey. Oh, is that a caveman? Right, okay. I think that's what Bigfoot are. I really do. Oh, I can't even look at it. Right, okay. That is a reproduction. It's okay, folks. It's not a real one. Of a Neanderthal in the Hall of Humanoids. Wow, or Humanids. Okay, so a 51,000-year-old carved bone fragment may be one of the earliest works of art. Researchers have announced in a paper published this week in the journal Nature, Ecology and Evolution. The work, made from a knuckle bone, gross, belonging to a hoofed animal, likely a deer, poor deer, was unearthed at the entrance to the Unicorn Cave by a team of German researchers in 2019. So it's took them 2 years to work out what it is. Okay, the carved bone is decorated with 10 angled lines in a chevron pattern that are clearly intentional and not just random or naturally occurring indentations. Relying on multiple testing, including radiocarbon dating, scientists deduce that the bone has been carved by Neanderthals and not the modern Homo sapiens, who did not come to the area until at least 1,000 years later. So, okay, so here we go. Here's the bone. Okay, so this is the earliest ever art. Okay, here's the unveiling. Okay, I feel sick. That's gross. You've got some skills going on there, Mr. Neanderthal man. There's potential. Okay. Right. Members of the archaic human species had sophisticated technology that allowed them to build fires, construct dwellings, weave rudimentary clothing, hunt and communicate. It's still commonly held that they were skull-cracking brutes, unable to form complex thoughts or act on creative impulses. But the decorative bone presents an important piece of evidence that Neanderthals were capable of conceptual imagination. Therefore, Neanderthals' awareness of symbolic meaning is very likely. So that's if you believe this carbon dating. It's just another way of them guessing, basically. I don't think the world, in my opinion, is as old as what they say it is. Again, this is my opinion. But it's interesting nonetheless. Oh, gross. Anyway, there you go. Let's go to the next story. The city of, I'm not even going to say that, divers have discovered an ancient warcraft. The city was rediscovered by underwater archaeologists in 2001. So they found an underwater city. Okay. Wow. And now they found a warcraft under there. Divers have discovered, I hope they weren't dinghy divers, a rare military vessel amid the sunken ruins of the ancient Egyptian city of, oh blimey, Thornis Heraclonian, I think I got that wrong, measuring over 80 feet long. The flat-bottomed, okay, ship had both oars and a large sail. While built in the classical Greek style, it also incorporates some Egyptian shipbuilding traditions. The vessel was likely sunken when the nearby temple of Anum collapsed. The remains were discovered beneath 15 feet of clay and debris from the building. So here we go. So it says here that excavations from a joint French and Egyptian mission led by the blah 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 have also uncovered a 4th century Greek funerary area. Wow, this is amazing. No, not you again. We don't want to see you. Right, the Greek ship is only it's only 2 known surviving vessels of its kind. The first one was dated 235 BC and it was found in Sicily in 1971. Prior to the founding of Alexandria by Alexander the Great in the year 3031, Zekleion, whatever it's called, was the largest port city in Egypt, controlling the entrance to the country at the mouth of the western branch of the Nile River. So there we go. So they found an underwater city in 2001 and now they found a giant boat. So it's interesting stuff. There's a lot coming out at them. Is that the boat? What's that there? Okay, remains of the ancient military vessel. I don't quite know what that is. I don't know. It's got 2 eyeballs. I'm not quite sure. Okay. Oh God, blimey. You'd make that in a dark alley, would you? But it's ear burnt off or something. Oh gosh, no, I don't see that. Okay, so there's some interesting news coming out. I might do this once a week, or just a roundup of bizarre and intriguing and interesting news from around the world. We've got another one in science news. Missing Antarctic microbes raise thorny questions about the search for aliens. Seemingly lifeless soils highlight the difficulty of discovering nothing. Okay then. So even in the harshest environments, microbes always seem to get by. They thrive everywhere, from boiling heat seafloor, oh blimey, hydrothermal vents to high on Mount Everest. Clumps of microbial cells have even been found clinging to the hull of the International Space Station. That's because it's not in space. There was no reason for the microbial ecologist Noah Fryer to expect that the 204 soil samples he and colleagues collected near Antarctica would be any different. A spoonful of typical soil could easily contain billions of microbes, and Antarctic soils from other regions host at least 1,000 per gram. So we had presumed that all these samples would host at least some life, even though the air around the Shackleton Glacier is so cold. Surprisingly, some of the coldest, driest soils didn't seem to be inhabited by any microbes. Wow. This is the first time that scientists have found soils that do not support any kind of microbial life. So there are parts of the earth that are completely dead. That's insane. The findings suggest that exceedingly cold and arid conditions might place a hard limit on microbial habitability. The results also raise questions about how negative scientific results could be interpreted, especially in the search for life on other planets. Interesting, isn't it? The challenge comes back to this sort of philosophical, how do you prove a negative? So basically, if we're saying we've been to other planets and we've tested the soil and there's no life there, and we just presume that the planet is dead, well, they've tested soil here and found that the soil is dead. So therefore, just because one part of the soil in the planet is dead doesn't mean the rest of it is. So therefore, there could be pockets of life on other planets. If you believe in other planets, that is, as many of you do not. So it's not my opinion, I'm just reporting on the bizarre news. So there he is, there's Noah. What's that in his mouth? Has he got a matchstick in his mouth or something? I don't pretty well know. Proving a negative is notoriously difficult, as we know, because we do like the old PCR test that likes the false positives. Anyway, so there we go. This just proves basically that having nothing in the soil, like they say on Mars, and if that exists and so on, doesn't mean there's no life, because surely if it can be on Earth that there's no life in Antarctica and there's life the rest of the planet, go figure. Anyway, what else have we got for today's news roundup of the bizarre and the curious? We go. A partial skeleton reveals the world's oldest known shark attack. Oh gosh, what's this? We don't want this. No, we don't want to subscribe. No. Isn't it going to let me look at this? Oh, okay, there we go. A man encountered the animal 3,000 years ago off the coast of Japan. Oh God, he didn't come off very well, did he? Where's his legs, his arms, and oh blimey. Okay, a man buried near Japan's coast around 3,000 years ago, whose skeleton is shown where it was excavated, I got the word right for once, is the oldest known victim of a shark bite. Somewhere off southeastern Japan's coast, a shark attacked 3,000 years ago and killed the man who was likely fishing. Afterwards, the victim's fishing comrades presumably brought the body, minus its sheared off right leg and left hand, back to land for burial. A new analysis of that unfortunate man's partial skeleton, excavated around a century ago, blimey, at a village cemetery near Japan's Seto Inland Sea, has unveiled that grisly scenario. This individual from Japan's ancient Jomon culture represents the oldest known victim of a shark attack, says archaeologist J. Elisa White of the University of Oxford. That old pesky radiocarbon dating again, which is their way of dating. If it's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they use. The researchers report in the August Journal of Archaeological Science. Wow, a roughly 1,000-year-old skeleton of a fisherman on Puerto Rico previously displayed the early signs of a shark encounter. So there we go. So we've gone another 2,000 years back. How much more can we go back to these pesky sharks? Was it a megalodon? White's group documented at least 790 gouges, punctures and other types of bite damage, mainly confined to Jomo Man's arms, legs, pelvis and ribs. A 3D model of these injuries indicates that the victim first lost his left hand trying to defend off the shark. Ensuing bite severed major leg arteries, leading rapidly to death. After the man's body was recovered, his mutilated left leg, probably detached and was placed on his chest. That's why his leg looks so weird. Numerous shark teeth found at some Yeoman sites suggest that sharks were hunted, perhaps by drawing them to blood while fishing at sea. But unprovoked shark attacks would have been incredibly rare, as sharks do not tend to target humans as prey, White says. Well, what about the great white, Mr. White? Megalodons, they say, are extinct. In my personal opinion, which is my opinion, folks, I think megalodons are still out there. How do we know? We've not even been to most of the bottom of the ocean. How can we say that megalodons don't exist anymore? Honestly, we don't know anything. Humans think we know everything and we don't. We just believe what we're told and we stop thinking for ourselves. I would like to think that megalodons do exist, amongst other things under the sea. But anyway, let's see if there's anything else before we wrap this up for the bizarre news for the weekend. Right, we've got a very, very bizarre one here, folks. Frog skin cells turn themselves into living machines. What? Newly created Xenobots swim and move particles around in their environment. What the? Okay. Small clusters of skin cells taken from frog embryos into larger spheres called Xenobots that can swim, move particles and heal themselves. What? Okay, using blobs of skin cells from frog embryos, scientists have grown creatures unlike anything else on Earth. These microscopic living machines can swim, sweep up debris and heal themselves after a gash. Cells from frog embryos. What? Scientists often strive to understand the world as it exists, says Jacob Foster, a collective intelligence researcher at the UCLA. Not involved with this research, but the new study, published this was in March this year, is part of a liberating moment in the history of science, a reintegration, I can't say it, towards what is possible. In a way, the bots were self-made. Scientists removed small clumps of skin stem cells from frog embryos to see what these cells would do on their own. Separated from their usual spots in a growing frog embryo, the cells organised themselves into balls and grew. About 3 days later, the clusters called Xenobots began to swim. Oh my god! Oh my goodness, if this is true, God knows what's really going on in this world. If they can do that, what the hell are they doing with other things from the human body that they remove? It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Blimey. Normally, hair-like structures called cilia on frog skin repel pathogens and spread mucus around. But on Xenobots, cilia allowed them to motor around. That surprising development is a great example of life reusing what's at hand. Oh my god, here we go, look. So they're little cells. Watch them gathering together, look, sticking together, look at that. They're finding each other and sticking together. That's insane. Wow. It happens fast. Isn't some sort of effect where evolution has found a new use over hundreds of thousands of years? This happens in front of your eyes within 2 or 3 days. Xenobots have no nerve cells and no brain. Yet Xenobots, each about 0.5 millimetre wide, can swim through very thin tubes and transverse curvy mazes. When put into an arena littered with small particles of iron oxide, the Xenobots can sweep the debris into piles. Xenobots can heal themselves after being cut. The bots zipper themselves back into their spherical shapes. What the fuck? Scientists are still working out the basics of Xenobot life. The creatures can live for about 10 days without food. Oh my god. They do really interesting things if you grow them. This is, you see, they don't tell us what they're really up to. So if they're telling us this, you know that they're doing a damn sight more bizarre shit than this, don't you? They include forming strange balloon-like shapes. Oh. Wow. Why the hell are they taking frog embryos and pulling cells out of it anyway and then watching what they do? What the hell are these people up to? Operation Paperclip much? It's not yet clear what sort of jobs these Xenobots might do, if any, cleaning up waterways, arteries or other spaces. This is nanobot technology, folks. What them little worms are. We can't talk about that, can we? I want to talk about it, but I can't. But the old test. I can't really say too much. These people are very sick and strange. And if they're doing this, what do you think they're doing to humans? Sticking things up your nose, for example. With the advent of new organisms comes ethical issues. Thank God someone said that. A digital ethics researcher at the University of Melbourne. Scientists like to make things and don't necessarily think about what the repercussions are. More conversations about unintended consequences are needed. Thank you very much. Stop messing with things. Leave things alone. If God wanted these little bots to be running around, I'm sure that he would have made it. There's a video as well there. I can't watch it. It's too weird. Anyway, I'll link this in the description. That's enough for now. We've had some bizarre, interesting news. If this goes down well and you find it interesting, I'll do some more. But for now, I'll be live tomorrow night and I'll see you then. If not, before. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.